Texans traveling to Baltimore to face the Ravens. Do they have a chance in heck? Let's go through the history of heavy road dogs in the divisional round. Let's hear from DeMeco Ryans. Let's react to the news of a season-ending injury, and let's get ready for round two, aka the divisional round of the playoffs in the locker room.
Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock. Localize every
Playoff
can't stop, won't
on to
stop.
Baltimore. We now know who the Texans will be facing. It is the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2, Sports Radio 610, the Odyssey app, YouTube, Twitch, all of that. So the Texans will be facing the Baltimore Ravens. I gave my initial thoughts on a previous video from today. If you want to go back and check that out, they open as a 9.5 point underdog against Baltimore, which seems about right. Baltimore is the most balanced, complete team in the NFL. They're at home, they're rested. So 9.5, it feels right. I would think that the public's going to be betting on the Texans. I could see this line actually going down to maybe 8, but we'll see. Maybe it gets bet up. Who knows? But the question is simple: do the Texans have a chance in this game against the Ravens? If you would have asked me, quite honestly, like just being honest, appreciate you, Devin, my friend. And I'm pretty much in the same mind frame that Devin is. If you would have asked me at 3:00 on Saturday, do I think the Texans have a chance to go beat the Baltimore Ravens on the road? I would have said I really wouldn't have hesitated too much, and I would have said nah. I would have just said no. I would have said, yeah, I think they can beat Cleveland. I think this is a winnable game. But no, I don't necessarily think that the Texans have a shot. But with everything that we saw on Saturday and everything that we're seeing and everything that's just seems to be playing into the Texans' hands, it would not shock me at all if they went and were one possession. We're in a one possession game against Baltimore with a chance to win the game, because the guy that is playing some of the best ball in the NFL right now, and the guy that is the straw that stirs the drink when it comes to the Texans offense, CJ Stroud, he's playing really good, and he seems to have that it factor, that cliche that we often talk about. Could I interest you in some stats? This is CJ Stroud in his last 3 winner-go-home games. And this goes back to Ohio State versus Georgia, the Colts game 2 weeks ago, and the Browns game, which, by the way, his team was an underdog, a betting underdog in all 3 of these games. These are his stats in those winner-go-home games. He's 59 of 81 for 72.8%. He's thrown for 886 yards, 9 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's 2-1 in those games. The only loss came on a missed game-winning field goal against Georgia. I was talking to someone earlier, and they said the Texans actually have the quarterback advantage in this game. I'm not going to go that far, because I do have respect for Lamar Jackson, but I will say this: I don't think it's the craziest thing that I've heard. Texans definitely, I mean, the way that CJ Stroud is playing, and the fact that CJ Stroud the last 2 weeks has had to win or go home, he's kind of in a groove. Baltimore, on the other hand, Baltimore's been sitting around for a few weeks. And not only have they been sitting around, they didn't know they were going to play the Texans till today. The Texans were going to have the day off anyways. There might be something to it. There might be something to it. Again, a lot of respect for Lamar Jackson, but CJ Stroud in those winner go home games is pretty ridiculous. Now, we do have an initial meeting between the two teams. I think it's fair to say both of these teams are much better in the present than they were that first week. Well, the Texans were just outmanned by Baltimore in that game. They lost 25-9. That was a pretty rough game. If you remember, the Texans went for it on fourth down a couple of times. This is when I don't know that Bobby Slowick had found a balance of aggressiveness. There was the J.K. Dobbins touchdown. Zay Flowers got loose. Petrie ended up getting hurt after struggling early on. It just really wasn't. It wasn't a good game for the Texans. Really, I don't even know that the Ravens were really gelling, but they're a lot. The Ravens, they're a lot better right now than they were, and the Texans are a lot better too. 9.5 point underdog. That's pretty high. And I decided that I was just going to go back and look up the history of the road dog in the divisional round. And here is what I came up with. And I decided to just go back to 2000. So we have the last 22 years, every team that has won as the betting underdog straight up on the road since 2000. The significant ones, like the heavy ones, the Chargers beat the Colts 28-24 as an 11-point underdog in 2007. The Cardinals beat the snot out of the Panthers 33-13 as a 10-point underdog. Jets beat the Chargers 17-14 as a 9-point dog. Jets beat the Patriots. That was the Bart Scott can't wait. 28-21 as a 9.5-point dog, which is what the Texans are. Giants beat the Packers 37-20 as an 8-point dog. That was the Hail Mary to Akeem Nicks, I think, at the end of the first half. Baltimore beat Denver as a 9-point dog. Little choke central there. Colts beat the Broncos as a 7. And the last time, this one's interesting. So the last time that Baltimore was a 10-point favorite in this situation against an AFC South team, they actually lost to Tennessee 28-12. And that was in 2019. And that was Lamar Jackson's MVP year with John Harbaugh. When they were same situation, AFC South squad, they lost 28-12 as a 10-point favorite. So there is that. We also have, if you want to go relevant, DeMeco Ryans and Bobby Slowick 2021 when San Francisco beat Green Bay 13-10 as a 5.5-point dog. That was in 2021. The one thing that I will say, like if I'm looking at this, the Baltimore in 2019, because that was Lamar and Harbaugh. Look at that. Just good information. And then Slowick and DeMeco having the experience. I also think it's interesting that the Texans already have the experience of going to Baltimore, just from like a logistics standpoint. But as far as CJ Stroud, I think there's some guys, and we just showed the stats. There's some guys who just know how to flip the switch whenever the lights are brightest. And one of the comparisons that we've heard about CJ Stroud is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has twice in a 2-year stretch against Tennessee and then against Buffalo, won as a 4 and a 5.5-point underdog. So just some interesting nugs there as we look at the Texans as a 9.5-point dog on the road against the Ravens. Just a couple interesting nugs. I'll say. And I do also think that there might be something to CJ flipping the switch, and you also got to wonder about the Ravens. I don't know how Ravens fans feel. I know there's been kind of a revamp. I know they did let stuff get stale. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to have all the answers about what the deal is with the Ravens. I find it kind of annoying when someone who doesn't follow like a team completely makes like absolute statements in like a 5-year stretch. But if there are any Ravens fans in here, any Ravens fans come through, explain to me this situation with the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens have not won a playoff game since 2014. They're 0-4 during that stretch, and they've lost 5 straight. And that's with John Harbaugh as coach. Now, I know 2019 was Lamar's first full season as a starter, but no playoff wins since 2014, 0-4 during that stretch, and they've lost 5 straight. Trying to find some trends here. I mean, there seems to be logical context clues that CJ Stroud can flip the switch when it matters most. I know John Harbaugh is a really, really, really good coach. I'm fond of his work. I even like Lamar Jackson. But 0-4 with no playoff wins since 2014, it's damn near a decade. You know, we talk about Baltimore. We talk about how good of a team that is. It's a good organization. But Lamar Jackson and CJ Stroud had the same amount of playoff wins, and Baltimore hasn't won a playoff game since 2014. Barack Obama was president the last time they won a playoff game. And he was halfway through his second term. Wasn't even like the back end. So I don't know if there's something there. I don't know if they just kind of got through the mud a little bit, and their mud wasn't as thick as the Texans' mud that they had to go through in 3 years, but haven't won a playoff game since 2014, the Baltimore Ravens. Maybe that doesn't mean anything. Last time they were in this situation, they lost to the Tennessee Titans. Other news with the Texans, some bad news. Noah Brown, his season is over. Here's the one thing about Noah Brown that I will say. He had 3 phenomenal games for the Texans. He had 7 mediocre games, and he missed 7 games. But without Noah Brown, the Texans aren't where they are right now. Without that performance at Cincinnati when they needed it most, without that performance against Tampa Bay, specifically that touchdown, the 75-yarder, the one-play drive that they desperately needed when they didn't have a kicker, and then the Tennessee game with Case Keenum where he scored the tying touchdown, the Texans aren't where they are right now. That final play against Cincinnati where he got the extra yards, he got the field goal closer to where Amendola could kick it, they aren't where they are without Noah Brown. So do I think Noah Brown's going to be back next year? Probably not. I think a lot of these guys on one-year deals are going to be gone, even the ones that are contributing consistently. I think the churning on this roster is going to continue. I think they're going to continue to find good players on one-year deals. I think people are actually going to want to play here now. So do I think Noah Brown will be a Houston Texan next year? No. Maybe some sort of veteran minimum type of joint or something like that to be like a 5 or whatever. But I could easily see him being gone. Is it a huge deal? I mean, I don't know that they're going to miss him too much. But let's be clear. That dude was an immediate asset to the culture of this squad. He's got that hard-ass kind of mentality with a lot of personalities in the locker room. And without his 3 big games, the Texans are not where they are right now. So Noah Brown, good stuff. Get well, my friend. But his season is done. Let's hear from DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco Ryans met with the media types in anticipation of the playoff game. Let's hear what he had to say as we prepare for Texans versus Ravens, 3:30 Central on ESPN on Saturday.
I think can't say there's one thing that our team, one quality that our team has is that word, is team. Right? It doesn't matter who makes the play. It doesn't matter when they make the play, but it's everybody just being brought in, everybody playing for each other. And that's the biggest thing I think that garners success is like nobody's worried about who gets the honors, who gets the accolades. It's truly everybody cares about just winning, and that's what matters most. It takes growth throughout the year. It takes ups and downs. It takes failure. It takes just a lot of learning lessons throughout the entire year truly to grow, to make you tighter. You think you learn best in those tough moments, right? You see who guys are, where's your true character when things get tough, when everything isn't going well. Like, how do guys respond? And we've seen how everybody responded through those tough times that we had, throughout some tough losses, right? But everybody continued to stick together. Everybody continued to work. And that's the reason why we're in the position we're in now. CJ's been the same throughout the year. I've always spoke about his growth throughout the year. I mean, from day one to where we are now. But he's been consistent, right? I think throughout the past month that he's been back from the injury, he's just really been he's got very calm, right? He's been focused. He's been laser focused, locked in. But he's been very calm, very confident. And I think everybody else feels that around him.
Coach, I know you don't know the destination just yet. You just know the day and the time of where you all are playing next. How do you prepare your team for the elements? Because it's going to be, somewhere it's going to be cold, somewhere that could potentially be windy. How do you prepare your team for that?
Right. Not sure where we'll be playing, but we do know the elements. There will be cold weather. Gracious that we have cold weather here in Houston this week. It comes at the right time for us to be able to go out, practice outside in the cold weather. I don't think you get used to it. I always say, no matter what the conditions are for a game, right, you have 3.5 hours to suck it up, and whatever that weather is, you have to deal with it and be your best in that moment. You're not the only one dealing with the conditions. The other team, they're dealing with the conditions as well. So it's no excuse, no matter what the weather is, where we have to go. Like, man, you have to be excited about the opportunity to play, and whatever it is, you suck it up for 3 hours and you play your best. I'm not sure, where we stack up with the rookies and the history of how many, the snap count and where we are. But I know our guys, in this moment, second round, you talk about experience, rookies. For us and for me, and my message with our guys is ball. Like, no matter who we play against, it doesn't matter if you're a rookie, if you're an experienced vet, all of that doesn't matter. It's about guys executing, playing together, playing fast, playing relentless. That doesn't change no matter where you play, no matter whether you're home or away. It doesn't matter, man. It's about playing team football, playing complementary football. If we do that the right way, experience, inexperience, it doesn't matter.
Hey, Coach, what has it been like to see Juice Sproud's impact on that offensive line as much as he has, especially considering that he missed like half of the season with an hamstring?
Yeah, really proud of Juice, man. You talk about a guy who's missed pretty much the entire season. And for him to come back at the time that he came back, we know it wasn't all good with him coming back. We knew there would be growing pains there. He played center all throughout training camp for us, and for him to come back and step in at the guard position, he had to get familiar with that spot, playing at the left guard. But Juice he's gotten better, and we've seen him grow as he's been in there, and he's gotten better each week, which has helped our offensive line and their success. It's been to play of all three of the interior guys, starting with Juice, also Shaq. He doesn't get a lot of attention, but Shaq has been there since day one. Hasn't missed a snap. He's been there. Has fought through. It's been a tough year. He's been one of the staples for us up front. And also Dieter stepping in at center. So those interior three guys done a really good job for us.
DeMeco, it felt like Bobby and CJ, the offense were in rhythm and in tune, maybe as good as they've been all season long. Was there something that maybe led to that in that matchup? And I mean, that's the number one defense that they kind of had one of the better games of the season against. What do you think kind of led to that? Was it just what Cleveland was doing, what the execution that you guys always talk about? It felt like they were really in tune.
Yeah, the offense, they're definitely in sync, starting with Bobby and with the play calls, and it comes down always to the players and how they executed the calls. And that's what stood out the most. And you talk about going against that scheme for the second time around. I don't think anybody felt good about our first matchup versus them, so there probably was a little extra attention to detail, a little extra attention taken to the preparation. Our guys were dialed in. They were locked into what we asked them to do, and we knew up front, right, early in the week that it was going to be a challenge for us just to handle what we needed to handle, right, to try to make some plays against a really tough defense who've been number one throughout the entire year, and they made a lot of plays on us the first game. So our guys were up for the challenge, and they stood up and they made the plays that, we needed to make to win the game.
Can you talk about just the progress of Mechie, especially, I know it's been all season, but especially to this week and what you've seen in him?
Right, really. Yeah, Mechie has, with this season, I think Mechie has had little up and downs throughout the season. Had some opportunities to make plays, and some moments he made them, some he didn't. But what a moment for him this past game, for him to come up with a couple big catches there, run after catch. Really proud of him for his journey and all that he's been through. And no one's been through it tougher than him. And for him to show the resolve to continue to push, continue to fight to get better at his craft day in and day out. Nobody works on their craft harder than Mechie. And it was good to see the success come from it in our first playoff game. So very happy. I know our entire team was happy to see him make some plays for us to put us in position to score there.
I know you said the weather. That is what it is. Both teams have been playing it. But going back to your playing days, what is it like having to hit 200, 300 pounds on in negative degree weather and consistently doing that? Especially in this case when it's like winter go home kind of.
Yeah, it's fun. And playing, I was fortunate to play in one cold weather game, Eagles versus Lions, where we literally went in for warm-ups and came back out and there was snow everywhere. And it's one of the games I think everybody remember where Shady kind of took off in the second half. But it's fun playing in the cold weather games, and you kind of block out all of, how bad it's going to hurt or it doesn't matter, man. How blessed are we to be in the position we're in playing, for a spot to go to the AFC Championship game. So that's all that matters. That's all that's on our mind is just finding a way to win, no matter the elements, no matter how you feel. I know everybody's pretty sore, everybody's beat up at this moment, but how would victory feel? And that's all that matters.
To that point, I mean, you have a number of guys like Nico, CJ, they've played in cold weather environments in college. Is it advantageous to have that experience, kind of know what to experience going into the game?
As long as you know what you need to wear, make sure you prepare, make sure you wear the proper things that help you while you're standing around on the sideline. But once you hit the field, you're going to get cold. And again, I would say, who cares? Like, let's go. We got to find a way to make plays.
This team has a lot of things. I even think that trading up the kid or anything, traded away y'all's own state. But I'm just curious, like even before you all got the players that you all had, why did
I believe?
Why did you believe? What did he just ask? Even DeMeco's kind of like, what are you saying? Why did you believe with the
Why
players
did
you
I
had?
believe?
What?
Yeah. Well, for me, I always say for me, it always starts with my faith. I truly believe that, we get all the praise and, we get all the attention. But as I told my team in the first meeting, I truly
By the
believe
way,
that
I think
God's
this
grace is
question
over our
got
team.
asked. What made you believe before? I mean, I,
And I truly believe that. And I don't shy away from saying that because that's what I truly believe. And, we've added a ton of players through whether it's free agency and draft, right? You don't do this alone, but the guys that we added, that says everything, right? You talk about Robert Woods, Noah Brown, Dalton Schultz, CJ, Will, like all of the men that we added, Jimmy Ward, just added a great group of guys who truly care about winning, and that's it. And when you have guys who prepare with the right mindset, guys who show up with the right mindset daily, unselfish guys, and that's one of the keys that's helped us the most. I think we have a really tight room of unselfish guys, and it allows us to get out of our own way and do whatever it takes, right, to be successful.
I know you always stress winning the turnover battle, but does that become even more important when you get to this elite level of competition?
The turnover battle is important every week. It's one of the biggest indicators and predictors in wins and losses, all right, in the entire NFL, no matter when you play.
I still can't get over why did you believe?
In regular season or postseason, all right, most important thing is taking care of the football and trying to take the ball away. So when you do that the right way, like we were able to have some big turnovers and actually capitalize and score on them in the game, and that flips the game instantly. So that doesn't change for us. That's always who we want to be. We want to attack the football because we know if you take the football, your chances of winning the game go out of the roof.
Coach, we got time for a few more. Coach, throughout the season, you already been playing the prime time games. You all played it.
Talking about this is Sarge asking about getting prime time attention. I like this. I like this question because they are getting a lot of it now.
Well, I think being on prime time, it's important for everybody to, see who we are. I'm happy we weren't on prime time earlier, but we had some growing pains to do there and learning how to win. But I think everybody just first off, they see CJ and how he plays, how prepared he is when he steps on the field. And I hope everyone just sees a team that loves to play football, that finishes the right way, plays with high energy, right? Because we have fun playing ball, and I hope that's what everyone sees, and everyone is dialed in and excited to watch Houston Texans football.
Do you feel all kinds of throughout the season that the team always had the right one game at a time mindset, nothing too big? It seemed that way throughout the week, last week, and during the game. Does any effort need to be put in to make sure it stays the same now that
On the effort of keeping the mind.
Our message doesn't change. Right? We have blinders on. Our focus is just when we find out. Our focus is whoever will play. Just let's prepare our best and let's control what we can control. And that's the only thing that we can control, no matter how many teams are left or that doesn't matter. Like, if we handle us the proper way, we'll be fine.
I'll take these last two. We'll in here.
Building this franchise into a winner and the faith that it's taken, how much does it help to have these moments in the playoffs in order to build the future going forward?
How important are playoff moments to building in the future? I like that question.
Me, the biggest thing is right now. People can talk about the future, what happens in the future. None of us knows the future. None of us knows what tomorrow may bring, but we focus on right now and where we are right now, and we try to maximize every day that we have, every opportunity that we have that's in front of us that we know that we have right now. That's what it's about. So we're going to, seize the day, and that's what it's all about.
First game of the season at Baltimore, your first game was the regular season, and you guys, your growth from there, I feel like you guys, even though you didn't win, you started some things, you set some standards, you were competitive, and now.
I don't know where this is going.
What's the question there? Yeah, we got to switch spots here.
What was going on there?
I feel like you guys, even though you didn't win, you started some things, you set some standards, you were competitive, and now
What's the question there? I'm sorry. Yeah, we got to switch spots here, but for sure. Right, man.
Where do you see the biggest improvement? This got asked last week. Like this exact question. How have you? I remember it because I listen to every damn press conference. How have y'all improved the most over the course of the season?
Talk about drastic improvements. Our first game going against Baltimore, man, tough place to play, right? Rookie quarterback, right? New team, new start going out to Baltimore. You look up, I remember going in at halftime and like, man, we were right there, right? Going against a really tough team. We were right there, really tight game, and it kind of, they took it away in the second half. But, from there to where we are now, we've definitely grown. Completely different team, right? They're a completely different team. They're trying to figure out, who they would be offensively with the new coordinator. But they've done an outstanding job. Baltimore, with their defense, I think they've been probably the most consistent defense throughout the entire year. And we've grown. Their offense have grown. They've done a really great job. So, if it's Baltimore, be a tough matchup. We'll see what happens here later today. All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, there you go. That's DeMeco Ryans. Interesting media availability. It's kind of weird too because you don't know who you're going to play. That was interesting. By the way, I got to correct something. I said Baltimore hadn't won a playoff game since 14. I was wrong. They've won one, so they're 1-4 since 2014 in playoff games. Lamar Jackson, obviously, and I said Lamar Jackson won a playoff game and said they hadn't won one since 2014. So I'm an idiot. But yeah, 1-4. Since 2014. Texans have won a few playoff games during that stretch. Does it matter? I don't know. I mean, it is John Harbaugh, and Lamar did lose to the Tennessee Titans in round one. Hasn't been awesome in the playoffs. We already mentioned the CJ Stroud win or go home stuff. So maybe there is something there. If you talk about the clutch gene, a lot of times there's coaches who have early success and then they have difficulty winning in the postseason. And maybe that is a thing with John Harbaugh. Who knows? But yeah, the Ravens are 1-4 since 2014. Yes, it has been corrected. 2020, they beat the Tennessee Titans. So yes, there you go. I was wrong with that. Appreciate everyone for coming through. We're going to be prepared for this. We're going to do the streams every night. And it is going to be a very, very fun game. We'll figure this out. We'll try to solve all the problems. John McClain going to join me on the radio show at 11 on Tuesday, 11 Central. We will have a exclusive with a player off of the practice field once again. And we will continue to get ready. Noah Brown out for the season. Who knows who the Texans will elevate or what they'll do. But it'll be a lot of fun. And no matter what happens when it comes to this Texan stuff, you already know we're all in it together. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Playoffs are upon us. Lamar, CJ, clutch versus Ravens playoff droughts. Much to do about nothing. We'll get into this. We got plenty of time, but the Texans open as a 9.5-point underdog. We're all in it together. Appreciate y'all for coming through.
Is what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localized every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number one. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle.